Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're running a pretty specific scan, one designed for you, the System Analyst of 2026. Your whole game is pattern recognition, and we're going deep into the signal environment right before a massive global system failure.
Yeah, and to be clear, this isn't a history lesson. We're looking at Life magazine from late 1936. This is our primary source material, and we're treating it like a detailed map of environmental change.
It's such a brittle moment in time. The world is just starting to feel like it's recovering from the Great Depression, but it's also, accelerating right towards World War II.
The context is just, it's astonishing. King Edward VIII has just abdicated the British throne for Wallace Simpson. That's a huge cultural earthquake.
And the Spanish Civil War is a hot war. It's happening right then. And yet, if you flip through the magazine, the main feeling you get is this push for normality. It's all about celebrity, leisure, things you can buy.
Exactly. So our mission here is to strip away that manufactured calm. We want to find the real markers of system failure that were hiding in plain sight.
It's all about spotting that gap, right? The gap between the front page distractions and what the institutions were actually doing behind the scenes.
That's the signal.
Okay, we've got a lot to get through, so let's unpack this. How did the magazine manage to sell normality while at the same time kind of hint at the storm that was coming?
Well, the number one tool for distraction, the main blinding agent in these December issues, is definitely the royal crisis. The focus on King Edward VIII and Wallace Simpson is just, it's noise pollution on a constitutional scale.
It's deafening. I mean, we looked at 4 issues late November, all through December, and the drama is just everywhere. It's framed as this grave constitutional crisis.
Right, which it was.
But the coverage itself is all personality-driven. It's a soap opera that's, pretending to be geopolitical analysis.
And that celebrity obsession was the perfect smokescreen. In the December 28th issue, there are these huge photo spreads of the now ex-king David Windsor at a dinner party with Mrs. Simpson, and their writers, they just dissect him.
Oh, yeah. They call him a poker-faced boy, bored, sullen, and fidgety.
Think about that. The public is emotionally wrapped up in whether a king can marry for love. His mood at a dinner party is treated as the greatest story of the year.
It just sucks all the oxygen out of the room. It monopolizes all the attention, all the intellectual bandwidth.
Now, compare that fever-pitch focus on personality with how the magazine handles, actual existential threats. The difference in tone is everything.
Okay, like the profile on Joseph Stalin. That was in the November 30th issue.
Exactly. It's this long biographical piece. It tracks his path from boy to dictator. It's very detailed. It covers his youth, his revolutionary days. But the tone is so neutral, it's almost anthropological.
It's a humanizing origin story. It reduces this totalitarian figure to a kind of complex character in a biography. There's no real talk of state violence or, what he might do next.
And it's the exact same editorial strategy with Adolf Hitler. That same November 30th issue, it features Hitler's watercolor paintings from his time in World War I.
Right. The focus is all on his failed artistic dreams. The story of him being rejected from the Vienna Art Institute.
By framing Hitler as the failed artist and Stalin as the revolutionary boy, the magazine is basically normalizing them. It's a way to obscure the immediate political and military threat they both represent.
If you can make a dictator relatable, or even just an object of pity, you automatically lower the public's threat perception.
You let the reader compartmentalize the danger instead of confronting it head-on.
So the public is obsessed with a royal romance, while these huge geopolitical players are being introduced like, quirky human interest figures. But the ground is already shaking. The facade of normality is cracking.
And that crack is the Spanish Civil War. The December 21st article, The Spanish Bomb Madrid, is a brutal, undeniable countersignal to all that other content. This is where you see the real cost of getting your assumptions wrong.
The photos are just raw. You see destroyed historical sites. The Duke of Alba's palace is in ruins. But the detail that really stands out, the one that's most chilling, is that image of civilians hiding in the subway stations.
They were huddled down there, operating on this fundamental assumption that peacetime infrastructure, a subway tunnel, would be bomb-proof.
They were using old rules for a completely new kind of war.
A hyper-lethal environment. And the magazine's caption confirms it. It notes that the citizens who put their faith in the subway were, and this is a quote, mortally mistaken.
And that is the signal for the system analyst. It isn't just that war is coming, it's that the rules of engagement for civilians have already changed, and the systems they relied on for safety are now obsolete. That vulnerability, that's the real marker.
So the Madrid bombing shows us the price of a civilian miscalculation. But now let's look at the economic signals, because they show this huge split, this contradiction between institutional panic and consumer daydreams.
The institutions absolutely knew something was wrong. You can see it in the obsession with gold security. The December 14th issue has pictures of $2 million in gold bricks being moved around. It's presented like this big display of wealth.
But the real signal, the real institutional fear, is in the November 23rd feature on Fort Knox. This thing isn't just a vault. It's a $10 billion fortress.
A fortress designed to withstand not just robbery, but, and I'm quoting here, civil commotion, foreign invasion, and the aerial bomb.
Think about that. Building a vault specifically designed to survive an aerial bombing that isn't just planning for an economic recovery, that's apocalyptic contingency planning.
It just screams deep institutional fear of a total system collapse, of a military attack on home soil. And that's happening no matter what the average reader thinks about Stalin's childhood paintings.
Right. So while the government is building literal gold fortresses, what is consumer advertising selling? Pure escapism.
Oh, completely. Ads for luxury cruises to South America, the Panama Canal. The market is basically saying, reality is getting ugly, here's how you can flee.
The fun chart of Southern California from November 23rd is a perfect example. It's literally an instruction manual for psychological retreat. Sunshine, relaxation, forget about the world.
Even the whiskey ads, they're not just selling a drink. Johnny Walker is selling a brisk stride in the morning. They're positioning their products as a way to find emotional stability.
It's all about temporary relief, about getting back to a pre-depression idea of normality. But then you dig a little deeper into the ads for technology, and you find a completely different signal. You find the adaptive behaviors that actually matter when a system is under stress.
And this is where it gets really interesting for you as an analyst. It's this obsession with precision. The Hamilton watch ads in December don't lead with how stylish the watch is.
No, they lead with functional resilience. They talk about railroad accuracy. They guarantee it against rust and temperature variations.
It's not about telling time. It's about demanding something that is verifiably, durably reliable. In a world that feels like it's falling apart, precision and durability become core values.
And you see the exact same thing in the home. That ad for the Gilbert kitchen kit mixer, it's sold on one clear metric. It will save the wife 200 hours of hard work a year.
It's all about efficiency.
Right. Whether it's on the railroad or in the kitchen, the market is monetizing efficiency and precision. These are the tools built to provide measurable value, a strategy that's the complete opposite of just, buying a cruise ticket.
So, okay, we have the government building bunkers, the public is buying escape, and a certain class of professionals are investing in tools that deliver measurable accuracy. But what was the general feeling? What was happening in the subconscious?
To see that, we have to look past the news articles and the ads. We have to look at the cultural barometer. And the subconscious environment of 1936 was, it was one of deep distress. And you can see it so clearly in the art of the time.
You're talking about surrealism. That December 14th issue has a huge feature on it. They show Dali's persistence of memory, the melting clocks, and some of Magritte's work.
And Life magazine makes a direct link. It connects this weird, distorted art to the reader's own irrational subconscious thoughts. They're not treating it like some highbrow abstract thing. They're basically saying, you know this feeling.
Yeah, that reality is bending, that the rules are changing. A melting clock is a pretty perfect symbol for that feeling, that time and order are becoming unstable.
And this wasn't just some fringe art movement. A Magritte painting could go for $500, which was an enormous amount of money in 1936. So there was real critical and commercial value in expressing that psychological distortion.
And at the exact same time, there's this desperate cultural need for the opposite, for total escape. That feature on the movie Lost Horizon.
In the very same issue, the story is about a plane crash that leads to this perfect, hidden valley, Shangri-La in Tibet. And the magazine calls it the best escape story in decades.
That's such a strong signal. The culture is craving a literal physical utopia that's completely walled off from the storms brewing in Europe and Asia. The desire to just physically check out of the environment is a powerful subconscious marker of what's coming.
And while the culture is dreaming of Shangri-La, it's also preparing its kids for war. You see this weird split focus on the next generation. On one hand, Pittsburgh birth rates are up 4%. There's this sense of family growth, of optimism.
But right next to that, you get the feature on West Point from November 30th. It details this incredibly grueling 16-hour-a-day schedule.
And it normalizes it. It presents this extreme discipline and physical rigor for the young male elite as something necessary and even admirable.
So it's a subtle signal, but it's everywhere. Society's investing in new life, but it's also simultaneously preparing that life for hardship, for service, and for potential sacrifice.
It's a profound contradiction.
Okay, so we've scanned the 1936 environment. We've got the celebrity noise, the normalized dictators, the gold vaults, and this collective subconscious that can feel reality starting to warp. So let's bring it forward. For the system analysts listening in 2026, what are the repeating patterns here?
The clearest, and I think the most dangerous pattern, is the normalization of severe geopolitical risk through, celebrity and personality-driven distraction. In 1936, the abdication crisis just consumed everyone's attention, while the real existential threats were being presented as these quirky human interest stories.
And we see a version of that today. Major strategic conflicts, huge shifts in global power, they often get filtered through the lens of viral personalities or some short-term political drama. It keeps the public emotionally invested in the soap opera instead of the underlying systemic changes.
And we also see a repeat of the more direct strategic signals. Back in 1936, the magazine was talking about the naval arms race and German rhetoric about their lost colonies. The preparation for conflict was obvious if you just looked at where the money was going.
That naval arms race, the territorial disputes, it's a clear parallel to the strategic competition we see today. The lesson for the analyst is to look past the cultural noise and see where the actual institutional resources are flowing, not where the headlines are pointing.
Which brings us to the core question, right? What were the fatal flaws of 1936 that we have to avoid repeating now?
For me, it seems like the biggest one was the illusion of physical safety. The people in Madrid trusting the subway tunnels. It's that fatal over-reliance on peacetime assumptions.
Absolutely. The fatal flaw is always mistaken assumptions about system resilience, relying on infrastructure or even governance systems that haven't been stress tested for the new reality. And the second flaw is that over-reliance on consumption, the cruises, the whiskey, as a strategic form of relief. It feels good for a moment, but it offers zero preparedness.
So the value, the winning strategy, was basically the opposite of that.
Yes. The durable lessons are in the investment in fundamental value. Go back to railroad accuracy. It's that demand for precision, for reliability, for durability in your critical tools and your data.
The efficiency of that kitchen mixer, the robustness of the Hamilton watch. Those were adaptive behaviors. They were designed for resilience, built to outlast the escapist fantasies.
So for you, the system analyst, this means prioritizing things like verifiable data integrity and operational efficiency over, say, just speed or a momentary feeling of satisfaction. It's about building your systems with that railroad accuracy in mind so they can hold up against major shocks.
We scanned the environment. Celebrity noise drowned out the rising threat, institutional fear was building vaults of gold, and the public imagination was trying to find refuge in melting clocks and hidden valleys. The system was clearly fracturing, no matter how calm it looked on the surface.
Yeah, the 1936 issues show a society wrestling with this profound disconnect between the reality it was being sold and the future it was subconsciously dreading. And this raises a really important question for you today. When the environment changes this much, what are the modern versions of the $10,000 gilded armchair or the luxury cruise? What are the things that offer you momentary relief but are failing to prepare you for the storm? What are you investing in today that's designed for railroad accuracy? And what is just a beautiful distraction that you might need to jettison?